Sorry, Deputy Donnelly.
Thank you, Ken Curla. Tanaiste, I'm going to ask you about the European Stability Mechanism, but I just wanted to say in follow-up to Deputy MacDonald, I applaud your passion for equality and for non-discrimination. It's obviously very real. However, it's a bit hard to take when tomorrow you're going to vote through a piece of legislation that discriminates on no other ground other than age. Maybe that's something to reflect on. Tanaiste, the EU leaders are meeting today and tomorrow in Brussels, and it's pretty clear that one of the issues that will be discussed is the retrospective recapitalisation of banks using the European Stability Mechanism. Now, for Ireland, this is critical. As everyone in this House knows, we poured about €64 billion into the failed banking system in Ireland. The latest information from the budgetary document suggests that next year we'll pay about €2.7 billion in interest on the money that we all poured into the banks. €2.7 billion. Now let's put that in perspective. The entire gain to the Exchequer of all of the measures from the social welfare bill, which will come through tomorrow, including cuts to the under-26s, will be about €100 million. So let's think about this for a second. The social welfare bill coming in tomorrow will return to the Exchequer about 1/27th of the money that we will pay in interest, not on the national debt, but just the bit of the national debt that is there because of the banking crisis. And the youth, who are going to be discriminated against tomorrow in this bill, will pay that €2.7 billion in their taxes for the rest of their lives, unless Ireland can get a substantial deal on recapitalisation of the Irish banks. And I am glad and I welcome the Taoiseach's writing to his counterparts to keep this imperative front and centre. However, Tanaiste, both Labour and Fine Gael made a lot of noise before the election about senior bondholders sharing the burden. However, when you came into government and Angela Merkel said no, the government acquiesced, and tens of billions have been paid out since. In fact, we don't even know how much burden sharing was asked for.
You're over time.
So this is my question. Thank you, Ken Curla.
Thank you.
My question has two parts, Tanaiste. The first is, can you tell the House how much recapitalisation has been asked for? How many billions or tens of billions has been asked for? And if Angela Merkel continues to say no, and she is clearly publicly saying no right now, is there a plan B?
Sorry, will you stay quiet,
Is there a plan
please?
B?
Sorry, will you put your question? Thank you. Will you mind your own business just for a moment? Thank you. Thank you. Would you please put your question, Deputy? Thank you.
I'm trying, Ken Curla.
Yeah.
Tanaiste, there's two parts to the question. First of all, to what extent is the government asking for recapitalisation?
Would you stay quiet,
how much?
please?
And secondly, if Angela Merkel and other European states say no, does the government have a plan B, or is the intention to continue making the payments? Thank you.
Thank you. Honestly, there are no clocks in operation for leaders' questions. That's the answer to your question. And don't interrupt somebody in the middle of their question. Thank you. Tanaiste.
Well, as the
Sorry, Tanaiste, please. Thank you.
As the deputy is aware, when this government took office at the beginning of 2011, we inherited an unholy mess of bank guarantee, huge problems in the banks, and we've had to work to get us out of that situation. And we have, over that period of time, first of all, managed our affairs in such a way that we will now exit the bailout at the end of this year. Secondly, we succeeded in negotiating the terms of the deal that was made by the previous government. In the first instance, to secure a reduction in the interest rate. I remember people in this House thinking we wouldn't get a 1% reduction, and we got over 2%. Secondly, we succeeded in negotiating the end of the promissory note payment and the liquidation of Anglo-Irish Bank, or the IBRC as it had become. Thirdly, we succeeded in persuading our European partners to make a decision in June of 2012 significant policy decision on the separation of bank and sovereign debt. And in that decision, to specifically reference the situation of Ireland, because of course Ireland had done its recapitalisation before the new European mechanisms, including the ideas around banking union and the ESM, were being put in place. Following on from that, we have then pressed ahead with the implementation of banking union, indeed quite an amount of work on that during the course of the Irish presidency. The issue will be discussed at the European Council again tomorrow, and in order to make it absolutely clear as to what Ireland's position is, the Taoiseach has written to President Van Rompuy and to the heads of state and government of the other member states, making it clear that we want delivery on the June 2012 agreement. In all of the previous negotiations which we have successfully conducted and concluded to the benefit of the Irish taxpayer, we have done so on the basis that we would not state publicly our negotiating position. I think that that would be very unwise. We're not going to do so on this situation either, other than to say that we are determined to get the best outcome for the Irish taxpayer, and we have some form on this because we have succeeded on all of the previous occasions when we had major negotiations to conduct in getting a satisfactory outcome for the Irish taxpayer, and indeed an outcome, I think, which went beyond the most pessimistic expectations that were often expressed in this House.
Thank you. Deputy Donnelly, 1 minute. Thank you.
Thank you for your reply, Tanaiste. Just to set the record straight, the interest rate was achieved by Portugal and then applied to Ireland. When you looked for an interest rate reduction, you didn't get one. Secondly, you made an extraordinary comment, which is that you've ended the pro-note payment. Now, unless I am mistaken, we're going to pay 210 million next year in interest on the pro-note, and we still owe 28 billion in pro-note bonds. So, just so that everybody understands, the pro-note payment has not changed. It's moved from a promissory note to a bond. We still owe the money, and we're still going to pay all of the money. You are right in that you achieved a fantastic success last year in June with that statement, and I applaud you for it. And my question goes to the heart of that statement, because being nice and paying everybody else's bills is not a strategy. It's what has happened on the pro-notes. If you want to use public money to pay my mortgage, I'll tell everyone in Europe you're fantastic as well. But the question is very, very important, because on the bondholders we got no movement. My question is this, my question is this. My question is this. How much recapitalisation has the government asked for? And I'm not asking you what Plan B is, I accept that. I'm asking you if you have a Plan B other than paying if Angela Merkel says no. Thank you.
Thank you. Tanaiste.
Well, first of all, Deputy Donnelly, you've been wrong successively in your predictions as to what would happen. You didn't think we would exit the bailout. You now say it doesn't. You now say it doesn't matter. You didn't think. You didn't think we would get the reduction in the interest rate. You didn't think we would get a conclusion to the promissory note issue. And you now seem to be wishing that we fail again in relation to the issue of the recapitalisation.
Would you allow the reply?
Thanks. It is time.
Sorry, would you please...
Donnelly, when it comes to sanctimonious, you have no equal in this House.
Deputy Donnelly, would you please allow a reply to your question?
You asked the question. You asked the question, do we have a Plan B? We have a Plan B, a Plan C, a Plan D. We are well prepared. We are well prepared, as we were in the previous occasions when we were successful to conclude these negotiations. We will do so. Very often these are matters of timing. We will do so when we will be in the best position to secure the best outcome for the Irish taxpayer. That's what I think the taxpayer expects us to do. We have set out our position in relation to the European Council meeting today. That's been set out in the letter from the Taoiseach. The issue of recapitalisation doesn't arise until the banking union and the ESM structures are put in place. That will be into next year. But clearly it wouldn't be wise that we simply wait until next year to set out our position, to ensure that the Irish position is clearly understood, and we'll continue that over the period of time until we get a satisfactory outcome, as we have done on each of the previous occasions.
Thank you.